A lot of people let their dogs make really bad decisions, so I'm just going to show you how we're going to manage that. I'm having her inside in the kitchen, but I'm going to prevent any bad decisions with the leash. I also have her food with her, so we're going to hand feed her and work a little bit of training while she's just in this environment, so she knows that all this stuff is just going to be furniture later, and she has no like crazy temptations to jump up on that, because I'm going to show her the setting without allowing her to do like bad puppy things. She's only 5 months old, so let's see how she does. So she's checking out that bowl. I'm just gonna take her away from there. But she looked at me, good. Giving her food right there. I don't really care what she does. She can explore. I just want her to see everything and not think of it as a big deal. Like, I want to be more fun than the counters. Good. And then obviously I'm not going to put a bunch of food everywhere and make it like super tempting in the beginning, because she's a super beginner dog. She's young, she's a puppy. You want to do everything easy. The biggest mistake that people usually make is that they rush things too soon, where there's too many distractions right away when the dog doesn't even value you or your reward that much yet. So just making sure that the value of the food is high, because we're always doing stuff together with her food, and then showing that this stuff is just whatever. Good. Good. And what I'm rewarding her for right now is just eye contact. Nothing complicated. Good. And I'm fine with her sniffing stuff. I want her to explore and just know and find out that this stuff is boring. So she's sniffing a trash can right now. There's probably smells over there. And also near the sink, there's probably some type of smells. Dogs love to sniff everything. But once she figures out on her own that I have the value here, then that'll be good. 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 A lot of owners that I usually meet, they're good at teaching the dog tricks or commands. But I think the main thing that most people miss out on is the management part. They're good at teaching their dog like the behavior with the tricks, with the commands, with the food and rewards and all that. But because they let the dog do whatever they want, then that stuff kind of like works against them, because the dog is just like, oh, I'd rather do this than listen to your commands anyways. And then also for me, I want the dog to behave even if I don't give you a command. So right now, I'm not doing any commands. I'm just giving her feedback basically. If she does something good, I'm gonna reward it. If she does something that we don't want, I'm just gonna prevent her from doing it. I'm not punishing or correcting right now. She's just a puppy. So that's that. I'm making sure that she knows how to behave in this setting in a low distraction area without putting her in any command. I want the dog to think on their own and know that, or I want them to learn that this other stuff is just background noise. Good. So not everybody does it this way, but this is what I prefer, because I feel like once the dog's attention is really good, teaching commands and stuff is way easier. Good. Most people struggle with getting their dog to focus while they're outside because they didn't build up the attention side yet. So for me, I like to build the attention first, add the commands after. Good. So that's why a lot of the times too, when people see on social media, I'm feeding the dog in a bunch of different places, because I want them to get used to their surroundings and earning rewards from me. Good. Good. So I just made a loop around my living room where there's like a bunch of furniture, couches, shoes, and stuff, just so she glances at it real quick, and it's very. She has a very minimal interaction with that area, because I don't know how her life was before I got her, but I think for her next home, I want to make sure she knows not to just jump onto furniture, because not everybody likes that. So I just wanted her to see it, and I was giving her rewards over there. When she first came too, she was super resistant to leash pressure. Like if I pulled the leash at all, she would be resisting extremely hard, pulling against. She was kind of flailing too. So what we did was I would apply pressure on the leash and then reward her afterwards so she knows to follow the leash. And this is going to trickle into like your leash walking and leash communication later. So I'm just going to pull it a little bit. Good. And she knows to follow the direction of the leash now because we've done it so much. So the mistake that people make is that the dog pulls and then they give into the leash and they follow the dog. Then the dog learns that they lead the leash instead of you leading them. Good. So the way to reverse that is if they put pressure on the leash, you keep that pressure on in your direction until they come towards you, and then you reward and release the pressure. Good. But if you let the dog drag you and you give into the pressure, then they're basically training you to follow them. Good. So last time when we were outside training with Benny, I was able to lure her into a down and she was good at holding it, so let's try it now. I'm just going to lure her down. I'm not going to say the word. Good. Good. Until she has a good understanding of it, and I know that she can perform it almost every single time with the hand motion, then I'll add the verbal. Good. She is actually pretty good at this. So. Right. I'm gonna just rotate her a little bit so you guys can see her. Oh, you're laying down again. Mhm. Good. Good. So she got up, but she doesn't know the command that well yet, or to hold it. So I'm just gonna reset her. Good. 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 Oh, so she moved, so we're not gonna reward that. Let's just move her back over. Good. So the key for this too, if your dog pops up and you can catch the pattern of how fast they pop up, just make sure to keep rewarding them until you're ready to release them before they release themselves. Good. So I'll make sure to release her after this one because she kept popping up after 2 rewards when I was moving around. So let's make it a little easier. Break. And I'm gonna just make another loop around the living room, get her more used to that. Good. 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 I haven't decided what I want to use as her formal and casual recall yet. So it's either going to be her name or the shortened version of her name. I could start introducing it now because she's a pretty like receptive dog to training. Good. But it is going to just look like the B word for the release because I want her to come up to me and I'm going to reward. So for her, it's going to look very similar to like the break basically. Good. For the casual recall anyway. So to introduce the name recall, I'm going to use EMI as her shortened version of her name. Emmy. Good. But I want her to kind of look around and then I call her because since it's a recall, I want her to be a little distracted, but not too distracted. So I want her to just look away from me, then I'm going to call and I'm going to help her with movement and the leash. So let's move her around a little bit. I'm just going to pull her right here. Maybe the next time she sniffs or wanders. Emmy. Good. So she didn't come right away, which is fine. She's a puppy, and that was literally the second rep that I did with her. So I helped her with movement and just a tiny little pressure on the leash. So I'm gonna start close. I'm gonna call her, and then you dash away. Oh, dang, she pays attention. Emmy. Good. And for that one, since it's gonna be the casual recall, I just want her to like come up to me. She doesn't have to sit in front of me. So I've only done 3 recall reps with her. And now she wants to follow me because she thinks I'm going to call her. Which I am, but let's let her explore a little bit. Emmy. Good. Emmy. Good. And you saw how that one, she was sniffing something over there, so I helped her with the leash. You always want to make sure that the dog knows that recall is not optional, so enforce it every time for a very consistent time before like challenging it more, right? So it's because right now I'm making it really easy. I'm going super close to her, and I'm making sure that I run away from her so she gets more motivated to chase me. Emmy. Good. Good. So she was looking at my hand, so I put my hands to the side and just waited for her to look at my face. Then I pulled the food out, and I lifted my hand back up because I want her to know that the last thing that she sees is the food up here, so her head stays up here, and then I reward right after. Later on, you kind of phase that part out, but beginning stages, I'm going to do it like that, because sometimes when you're like rewarding for eye contact and they see you go back down to grab it, they might look there, and I don't want that last point to be there. I want her head still there the whole time. What's up, girl? Good. But yeah, this would be like a very chill indoor training session, even though it's not it just looks like I'm feeding her, but this goes a long way once you do it every single day, multiple times, different places, and adding more to it. But the way to get like good dog training is to just do it frequently and very short and super successful, right? I'm not like what I said earlier, I'm not putting food all over the counter for her first time training out here. Maybe later on, but way down the road. I want to make sure that she can behave very calmly in this setting without all this other stuff. I don't have a bunch of people hanging around yet, but later on we'll gradually add it in.